So recently I made a brave decision. After 10 years of having a steady job, I decided to take a brave step out of that and start my own business as a facilitator, consultant and a coach, which was awesome. I knew it was going to be tough, but I think I can make it through. And then COVID-19. It's pretty hard to get people into a room to train them when they, and people coughing now, it's not just annoying, it's actually deadly. So people don't tend to want to train at the moment, and obviously for me, I started to have all sorts of feelings and thoughts of panic and terror. And really I was grasping for something to lead myself out of the situation. And I remembered a talk by Henry Cloud where he walked a bunch of stockbrokers through the 2007-2008 financial crash. Obviously being a stockbroker in New York at that time must have been horrific. And he said the downward spiral that those sorts of events can create are defined by 3 Ps. The first P is that it feels personal. Now you go stock market crash or COVID-19 isn't personal, it's really not. But what happens is we start to doubt ourselves in that process and we somehow feel attacked by the universe. And really, will I have what it takes to get through this? Will I have what it takes to actually navigate this space? And how do I build something in the midst of a crisis? What do I have to say in that space? And so you start to doubt yourself. The next thing is after it becomes personal, it becomes pervasive, which means it's not just one area like, okay, my ability to lead through this crisis of COVID-19 or build a business in this space, but suddenly it feels pervasive. So it feels like it kind of infiltrates that negativity, infiltrates all of life, and you start to see lots of different spaces with a negative lens. And then the third phase is it actually becomes permanent, and you start to think like, well, life will always be like this, and every time I make these sorts of decisions, look at what happens. And we kind of like, we get into a complete victim mindset and we think life will always be that way. And that's a normal human progression of downward spiral, not a great one, but a normal one. So if you find yourself in that, that's okay. But old Henry Cloud, he did give us a way of leading ourselves out of that space, and also with 3 steps. The first step is that you need to write down the negative thoughts. So often when we have negative thoughts, they just swim around in the back of our mind while we're working, responding to emails, driving, all that kind of stuff. But we need to articulate them and make them concrete. And to do that, you've got to write them down. So what is the negative thought that I have? So write that down. The next thing is interrogate those negative thoughts. Ask them questions. Are they really true? What is true about them? What isn't true about them? And so what you're really doing is you're testing the validity of the thoughts and assumptions that you've bought into. The second step is that you really want to go and make 2 columns. On the one side, things that I can control, and on the other side, things that I can't control. And put what you can control in that column and put what you can't control in that column. So COVID-19, running out of toilet paper, maybe you can control that, maybe you can't, we don't know yet, it's early days. And just write as many as you can't control things and then really get worried about it for 5 minutes and then put it aside. And get really intentional about writing stuff down that you can control. You can control the number of people you contact, you can control the number of spaces that you push into in terms of your learning, writing. Maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff for me that I haven't written for a bunch of time. I might actually have time to do that now. And so there's productive things that I can do in this time that really I wanted to do for a long time but haven't got to. And so you can push into that space and do something productive during these days. And then you need to focus on those things absolutely ruthlessly. And then the third thing that you need to do is that you need to connect with people that are supportive of you and are committed to you. Maybe it's in your team, maybe it's a group of friends. Obviously during COVID-19, less connection, or at least maintaining social distancing, but we can connect in a whole bunch of ways these days. And what that does is, as people, we are inherently social creatures, and so when you connect with like-minded people that believe in you and understand you and back you, it does wonders to reduce anxiety, reduce stress, and help you to be in a positive, proactive frame of mind to move forward. So I'm really wishing you all the best as you lead yourself and your teams through this uncertain period, but there is stuff that you can do to reduce anxiety and stay productive, and focus on those.